all the way to the weekend. Lauren?
Thanks, Aaron. We continue to follow some breaking news as fire crews are out at the Lakeshore Apartments. We'll have live details for you coming up. Plus, we're waiting to learn the name of a woman who drowned after driving her car into a Springfield pond over the weekend. We'll let you know what happened. And this Republican candidate for Missouri Senator says he isn't dropping out. We'll let you know when his last chance is. Plus,
Mitt Romney tries to rebound from a difficult week.
Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Matter. We're following breaking news now. Fire crews have been called to a Springfield apartment that caught fire in June. If you recall, we showed you this video last hour. KSPR's Sheena Elzy is live at the Lakeshore Apartments in Southwest Springfield with more details. Sheena, are you there?
Develops. Lauren, back to you.
All right, thank you, Sheena, for that live report. And if you are traveling in that area, it's probably a good idea to take caution, maybe avoid Kansas Expressway this morning down in Southwest Springfield because there's a lot of fire trucks out there. We keep hearing a lot of scanner traffic with a lot of other fire officials going out there, so you might want to avoid that area. And of course, we'll be keeping you updated all morning long at kspr.com. Now, this is the same area where a fire gutted several apartments back in June. Fire officials say that blaze was caused by a Tupperware container being used as an ashtray. Now let's turn things over to Aaron for a first look at our forecast. Aaron.
Good morning.
Springfield City Council will vote tonight to consider 4 amendments to the controversial marijuana ordinance. Last month, Council voted to pass the ordinance that would minimize the penalty for marijuana possession. It calls for violators caught with about 1.25 ounces of pot to pay a fine instead of going to jail. But the city attorney says 2 parts of the ordinance have legal issues. Under state law, City Council has no power to expunge records as the ordinance requires. Also, the ordinance cannot make council form an oversight committee. Council members say they can fix the problems, which is why they passed the ordinance in the first place. 4 council members want to completely repeal the ordinance. Mayor Bob Stevens is sponsoring an amendment that removes the 2 provisions that we just mentioned. Another option raises the fine to $450. And finally, another option includes a proposal that eliminates the Oversight Committee requirement but does not remove the expungement provision. We'll be following this story for you today and bring you Council's decision tonight on KSPR News at 10. Even with the cooler temperatures we had this weekend, researchers say a tiny little bug is still actively spreading disease. There are an average of 20 tick-borne illnesses cases reported in Greene County every year. And now the bug could now be linked to a new strain of illness known as the Heartland virus. There are only 2 known cases that were found in northern Missouri, but with more ticks creeping up and no known antibiotics for the new strain, CDC researchers are now asking people in the Ozarks to be on the lookout. At the Springfield Greene County Health Department, they're checking too, but researchers cannot test for the virus locally.
The best thing, individuals, you and pick it off before it bites you.
Researchers also suggest staying away from heavily wooded areas or tall grassy areas. That's where ticks tend to thrive. Like we just mentioned, there were nearly 20 cases of tick-borne illnesses reported in Greene County this year. In Vote 2012 coverage this morning, Mitt Romney heads to battleground states ready to talk specifics about fixing the economy and helping the middle class. President Obama is getting ready for appearances on The View and at the United Nations. ABC's Tamron Bradley has the latest. President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama will appear on The View tomorrow. It'll be their first joint interview on the daytime TV talk circuit. You can watch The View every day here on KSPR at 10 a.m. In Missouri politics now, the Dave Spence gubernatorial campaign received a bump in donations after a Springfield rally with New Jersey Governor Chris Christie this weekend. The 2 took to the stage at the Ramada Oasis Center last night. They spoke about jobs and the race against incumbent Jay Nixon.
Governor Jay Nixon.
It's below the national average.
Bank's fault.
The rally and fundraiser raised about $100,000 for the Spence campaign. Todd Akin is once again reiterating his stance that he will not bow out of Missouri's U.S. Senate race. Before his controversial comments about rape, Akin led in the polls over incumbent Senator Claire McCaskill. He now trails McCaskill, and several Republican leaders have urged him to drop out of the race by tomorrow's deadline. We are waiting to learn the name of an elderly woman who died after losing control of her Jeep and then driving it into an East Springfield pond. It happened over the weekend at Skyline and Rockland in the Southern Hills neighborhood. Police say the woman was driving south on Skyline Road when her Jeep Cherokee crossed the northbound lane and then plunged into the pond. Witnesses tell us a man jumped in and tried to free the 75-year-old from the Jeep, but the car was too deep in the water and he couldn't get the door open. A Polk County 15-year-old charged as an adult for the March murder of his sister is scheduled to be in court for a preliminary hearing today. Levi Elliott is also charged with armed criminal action and tampering with a motor vehicle. Court documents showed that before Elliott's sister Sierra died, she told investigators her brother shot her. They say after that shooting, Levi took the family's white truck. It is now 6:09 and a unique Thanksgiving tradition continues this year. We'll let you know how you can start training early for the turkey trot. That's after a check of weather with Aaron.
Yesterday,
It is 6:12. We're just about 2 months away from Thanksgiving and the largest 5K event in Springfield. I took part last year. It was so much fun. The 18th annual Turkey Trot is coming up. Here's some video from last year's event. The Chesterfield Family Center Park wants to help you start training. Training starts tomorrow and will be every Tuesday and Thursday night at 6 until November 15th. The training program costs $45 and includes your registration for the Turkey Trot.
Heavy rain, that'd be great for the drought, but
It would.
it would ruin the weekend. Right now, I'm just not buying that scenario, but we'll have to watch it closely.
But any rain will be good because I can even tell it's a little bit more green outside from the rain we've had, and it'll be really good for the fall colors. Maybe make it a little brighter.
It is, hopefully.
Yeah.
Keep those fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, Aaron. Springfield University has narrowed down its search for a new leader. We'll have those details in about 5 minutes.
First, we're checking out the newest rock band coming up in a little bit.
But first, we continue to follow breaking news. Fire crews are fighting a fire at the Lakeshore Apartments off of Kansas Expressway in southwest Springfield. You can see the flames kind of in the background. It's still really, really dark. It's only 6:15 right now. You can see the fire crews, though, right there fighting this blaze. We saw flames and smoke earlier, and information is still coming in, but neighbors tell our KSBR crew at the scene that the fire started in the attic of a vacant apartment. Traffic is also backed up in the area, so you're advised to not go on Kansas Expressway right now. And the apartments that are burning now are close to the building, as you recall, that burned in June at a fire at that same apartment complex. We'll be updating you on this fire throughout the morning.
PR News at 4.
Welcome back at 6:19. Most U.S. flights don't have internet service yet, but owners of the Verizon iPhone 5 may have service options. Here's ABC's TJ Winnick to explain in this morning's Tech Bites.
In today's time with Nicoderm CQ.
Welcome back. On this day in history, September 24th, 1789, the Supreme Court of the United States was established. The first Supreme Court had 6 justices who were appointed to serve until death or retirement. Today, 9 justices serve on the Supreme Court. In times of constitutional crisis, the nation's highest court has always played a definitive role in resolving the big issues in the country. Turning now to local history, Aaron Bull has a look at today's birthdays and anniversaries. Aaron.
okay. Shot of rain, and we need it, so we'll take it. Lauren.
You sure will. Thanks, Aaron. Coming up today on the Ozarks, Drury University in Springfield is set to announce finalists in its presidential search this afternoon. University officials have narrowed their search down to 3 people. Last summer, Drury's current president announced that he would retire in May of 2013. You're invited to tour Cox Health's new Sports Medicine Center today. It's on the first floor of the Bone and Joint Center. That's in the 3500 block of South National in Springfield. Coaches, parents, and athletes are all welcome between 11 and 8 today. The Sports Medicine Center offers care to athletes who got hurt and training for those who want to improve their performance. It is now 6:23 and we have a crew at the Lakeshore Apartments in southwest Springfield. A building on the north side of that complex is burning right now. Well, a live report for you coming up in about 8 minutes. And your kids are probably watching your driving habits, and it may influence them more than you know. The results of a new study on teen driving are next. Welcome back. It is 6:26 on the dot. Are you teaching your kids bad driving habits? Well, a new study shows that teens who drive distracted or dangerously most likely learn those bad driving skills from their parents. The majority of more than 1,700 teens surveyed admitted to making bad decisions behind the wheel. 9 out of 10 said they talked on their cell phone while driving. 94% admitted to speeding. Most teens said their parents practiced do as I say, not as I do rules when it came to driving. Traffic crashes are the leading cause of death for U.S. teens, and they are 4 times more likely than older drivers to crash. KFC restaurants in Pakistan are closing their doors after anti-American protests in several Muslim countries. KFC's parent company says this is a precautionary measure after a KFC was attacked in Lebanon last week. Protesters are angry about an anti-Islam video produced in the United States. Demonstrators also attacked 2 other U.S. franchises in Libya, a Hardee's and a Krispy Kreme. It is now 6:28 and fire crews are fighting a blaze at a Southwest Springfield apartment complex. We've been following this for you all morning long. A live report from the scene that's coming up. Plus, this Springfield hospital is getting a big gift for tiny patients. We'll let you know more.
PR News Tip Line 417-268-3333.
Welcome back. It is 6:30. I'm Lauren Matter. Thanks so much for waking up with us this Monday morning. We're following some breaking news all morning long. Fire crews have been called to a Springfield apartment that caught fire back in June. KSBR's Sheena Elzy is at the Lakeshore Apartments in Southwest Springfield with a live report with what's going on right now. Sheena.
Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Sheena, for the latest information on that fire. Our web producer actually lives at those apartment complex. He is okay this morning, but he says he's not allowed to leave his apartment right now. So if you're in the area, like Sheena said, you might want to avoid Kansas Expressway, or if you live around there, please make sure you are staying safe away from that fire so crews can get it under control. And of course, we'll be keeping you updated all morning long at KSPR.com. Now, like we mentioned, a fire gutted several of the Lakeshore apartments back in June. Fire officials say that blaze was caused by a Tupperware container being used as an ashtray. Let's turn now to Aaron Bowl for our first look at our forecast. Aaron.